Most people think flow just happens. Like one day you sit down, you hit the perfect vibe, the perfect playlist, your brain cooperates, and boom, you're in the zone. That's a fantasy. Nobody tells you the truth. Flow doesn't start with feeling good. Flow begins with struggle. And without struggle, you never get into flow. Yeah, I know. That's not the sexy version people want you to hear, but it's the real one. And once you understand it, everything about your productivity, your confidence, and the way you chase your goals finally makes sense. Today, I'm going to break it all down. Okay, let's get into it. So, why do we get flow all wrong? Think about how we talk about flow. We say it's effortless. We say it's magic. We say it's the moment when everything just clicks. And because of that, people assume flow comes from comfort. They assume that if they light a candle and make the room aesthetic and listen to calming music and get in the right mood, then the flow state will appear like some kind of mystical reward. But here's the real picture. Flow is not born from comfort. Flow is born from pressure, from stretching your mind, from uncertainty, from challenge, from pushing just past what you know you can do and pushing past your comfort zone. And pushing past your comfort zone doesn't feel good. Not at first, anyway. So here's a part nobody talks about, the struggle phase. Let me break down what's actually happening before you get into flow. Right before the part where everything clicks, you hit a wall. You feel frustrated. You feel overwhelmed, confused, annoyed, tempted to quit, tempted to check your phone, tempted to avoid the whole thing. And you think, why isn't this working? Why do I suck so much at this? Why can't I just get started? And that's where most people tap out. But here's the secret. That frustration is required. That confusion is part of the process. That tension is the doorway. Psychologists like Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the original godfather of flow, found that your brain can only enter flow after it gets overloaded, after it hits the point where your conscious mind can't logically solve the problem anymore. Stephen Kotler's research shows the same thing. Your brain literally pushes into flow as a response to being challenged just beyond your current skill level. Not completely overwhelmed, not drowning, just stretched. And that stretch is a struggle. And without it, flow never triggers. Your brain has two gears. Gear one, conscious effort. This is where you're actively thinking, problem solving, forcing it. Gear two, subconscious pattern recognition. This is where intuition kicks in, creativity fires, and flow happens. But gear two won't take over until gear one gets overloaded. That overload feels like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't think I can solve this. I'm stuck. And that's good. That's when the switch is being primed. The struggle phase is basically the brain saying, okay, conscious mind, that didn't work. Time to hand this off to the deeper machinery. And that machinery, the subconscious, is about 20,000 times faster. Yeah, literally, that number is from the neuroscience. That speed is why flow feels so smooth, so effortless, so powerful. But again, to activate the deeper part of your brain, you must first overload the surface part. And that overload equals struggle. So here's the cycle most people don't really know about. Flow doesn't happen randomly. It's a predictable pattern. Phase one, struggle. You're pushing, you're learning, you're frustrated, you're trying things that feel slightly above your skill level. Not too high, just a little bit above your skill level. And then release. You stop forcing it. You take a walk, you take a shower, you breathe, and your brain switches gears. Phase three, that's flow. This is where the magic is. Time disappears, everything clicks, work feels effortless, and ideas just kind of appear out of nowhere. And then there's phase four, recovery. You replenish the brain chemicals. You rest, you recharge, you restore your mental energy so you can do all this again. And here's the kicker. You can't jump straight into flow. You can't skip the struggle. You can't bypass the cycle. Flow is not a hack, it's a rhythm. And once you know the rhythm, you've got a better chance to trigger it on purpose. So here's how to work with the cycle instead of fighting it. Lean into the struggle. Don't avoid it. When you feel resistance, that's a sign you're close, not a sign you should quit. Tell yourself this is the beginning of flow. That reframe alone can change your life. Stretch your skill level, but again, not too far. Flow happens when the challenge is slightly above the skill, about 4% higher. So small pushes, tiny edges, not huge leaps that just trigger panic. And when you get stuck, stop forcing it. Release. Go for a walk. Do something rhythmic. Let your subconscious take over and then go back to it. And when flow hits, you need to protect it. Make sure your notifications are off, right? You've silenced your phone, you've shut the door. You want 60, 90 minutes of uninterrupted time and then recover. The recovery phase is vital. Recover like it's part of the job because it is. Recovery means cold therapy, meditation, light therapy, stretching, sleep. If you don't get recovery, you don't get flow tomorrow. So here's the big shift in your perspective. Most people misunderstand their own struggle. They think that, oh man, if this is hard, I must be doing something wrong. If I'm frustrated, it means I'm not good enough. If I can't get into flow instantly, something's broken. But the reality, struggle is not a sign of failure. Struggle is the first phase of the process. Struggle is the evidence that you're going in the right direction. The only people who never struggle are people who never stretch. And the people who never stretch never get flow. You want your life filled with clarity. You want to feel confident. You want consistent execution. You want more in the zone moments. Then start seeing struggle as a green light, not a red one. So if you only take one thing from this video, let it be this. Flow is not the reward of comfort. Flow is the reward of courage. Flow comes only after you step into the unknown. Flow only comes when you try something that's just a little too hard. Flow comes after your brain says, I don't know if I can do this. That's the gateway. So if you want more flow in your life, learn to trust the gateway. Lean into it. Breathe through it. Work with it instead of fighting it. Once you stop stopping yourself, flow becomes normal, not a lucky accident. So if this has been helpful, leave me a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.